Hello, welcome to Cinephile Entertainment. I'm a Cinephile critic, and today I'll be reviewing this movie. Don't you miss it, Fee? Or is it a case of because you don't want it, I can't have it? The Children's Act. The Children's Act is a film directed by Richard Eyre and stars Emma Thompson as Fiona May, Jason Watkins as Nigel Pauling, Stanley Tucci as Jack, and Fionn Whitehead as Adam Henry. The Children's Act. A quick synopsis of what it is you follow Fiona, who is a judge in the British judiciary system. She is in the family courts, and what happens is, she hears various different cases, and the courts has to rule in, what type of care this child is going to receive. So you had conjoined twins. Can both of them, live? If both of them live, they're going to live a very short life. Where if one of the child is removed from the other child, then the other child can have a healthy life. So it's that type of thing, but the parents don't want, one child to be killed. She deals with, neglect, abuse, health situations when it comes to children, because this is the family court. See her at the point where she's having issues in her marriage. She is a judge. He is a lecturer teacher and at university. So, they have a good life. They have a good dynamic between the two. However, what happens is her work is taken precedent and he's been left behind. And so his issue is they haven't had physical connection and even an emotional connection for basically just under a year. And she doesn't really see, what's the big issue. And so he's like, well, he's going to have an affair. At that point of the story, I was actually really intrigued. But anyway, as the story goes on, and she is dealing with him having an affair. This case comes up with this teenager who is a few months from being 18. Parents are Jehovah's Witness. He needs a treatment, and the treatment that he needs is blood transfusion. And with these tablets and the blood transfusion, he can make a full recovery because he's got leukemia. Decides to talk to the boy, and she visits him in the hospital. And then after that, she makes her ruling, and the boy gets the transfusion, comes better, but then he becomes entwined with her. He just has these fantasies with her, this illusion of him and her together. And so he kind of then becomes a stalker, and it's kind of like what happens after that. So that's kind of like what the Children's Act is, and I think it's based off a novel. You can research that novel. I did not research that novel, but if you want to know about that novel, you can read it. If you've read it, tell me. I would love to know what your opinion is about that novel. It is directed very well. And the cinematography is absolutely beautiful in this film. It really showcases London, obviously the affluent part of London. I love the dynamic between her and her husband. At first, that is when, in the first act, as it gets on, I really can't stand it. Well, there's a few tricks and turns that they do with editing that I actually like in this film. The lighting is very good for what they're trying to display. The dynamic between her and her husband is interesting in the first act, because I thought that this was going to be a very mature conversation about relationship, being artistic in the fields that they are, in great knowledge and influence. I felt that this film was going to be in their personal life and being really honest about the type of people that they are. And unfortunately, this film is not that. It starts off that way to a certain point, but that's really from Jack's character, but it doesn't go anywhere because Fiona's character shuts it down. She becomes this really immature woman who is in a position of power and doesn't know how to communicate her emotion. Jack is quite honest. Fiona runs away from her feelings. And so what happens is, in a time of she's having issues with her husband, she kind of feels attached to this boy a bit. She doesn't indulge in him. She doesn't encourage him, but she likes the fact that he looks up to her. She likes the fact that he is constantly trying to, follow her and communicate with her. I really like the peephole into the judiciary system, because that's something that a lot of people are not privileged to see most of the time. So the fact that they have this access, that you see the way how the judge rules where she wears her courts and everything else. I thought that was really interesting, and I really like that. And I actually quite like the fact that she, you know, that she is a woman judge in this particular situation. The storyline to some point was interesting. I did like the way how this film was filmed. However, my biggest issue with this film comes from one of two places, and it's not necessarily the storyline. So the first issue that I have with this film is the character, and it's mainly on the character of Fiona. Fiona is a character that has everyone at her beck and call. She's a judge. She's at the top of her game. She is in a situation where she is very influential. She is at the top of her career. She is very influential. She has the respect of her colleagues. She is in a relationship with, although he's cheated, he has tried to make it work. You know, everyone around her is extremely respectful or adores her. And because that character is written that way, there is not a tunnel for her to express her emotions or be corrected in the way that it needs to be corrected. And that is irritating when it comes to character dynamic. In order for that character Fiona to be appealing, she has to have a tunnel where she is able to be rebuked as well as encouraged as well as comforted, and that tunnel does not exist. She has no one that that she's able to talk to, and so what then transpires with this character becomes uninterested and unsympathetic, because it's like everyone gives into her beck and call. You know, she is spoiled. There is not a way to relate to her because there's not an avenue where she has a friend that she talks to. All you just see on the screen is everyone falls in line when it comes to her. They just, you know, fall at her feet, even her husband. Now, my second biggest issue with this film, which is the major issue with this film, why does this film exist? This film should never have been a film. Wrong medium for this film. This film should have been maybe like a 6-part series on the BBC. I felt that the family court situation was really interesting. And have that, you know, this boy and his plight, you know, going through the 6 episodes, I think would have been perfect. As she's going on her life, she's dealing with this as well. So I thought that would have been better. Never should have been a film. It should have been a TV series. And the other thing I would say is Mr. Pauling's character, which is Fiona's Clark, he is the best actor in this film. His acting is so natural as a Clark. You can tell that he loves his job, and the way how he goes about it and everything else, he is literally the best thing in this film. At points, this film is really interesting, and the characters can be as well, depending on who's there. I find Jack much more of an interesting, compelling character than Fiona. I think Fiona is just too self-centered and everything's just around her, and there's no way of her facing reality apart from with this boy Henry. But I think Jack is much more of a compelling character, and I think Mr. Pauling is much more of a compelling actor as well than what Fiona is. And I think those two people have a vast amount of dynamic range. Sterling plays Jack beautifully in this film. This shouldn't be a film. This should have been a TV series. Wrong medium. However, I will say that the soundtrack to this film is absolutely beautiful. I love the soundtrack to this film. It was music to my ears. And that's why I will be rating this film as betwixt and between. I think that this film has good points as well as bad points. I just think it's the wrong medium. It would have been much better as a TV series, but that's my opinion of this film. Anyway, have you seen it? If you've seen it, I would love to know what you thought about it. Let's get this conversation started. Thank you for watching my review. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe down at the bottom. If you're thinking, darling, just wait a minute, I'll come back. I'll see what else you've got. Then hopefully I'll see you again. And remember, until next time, keep safe. Bye.